Welcome once again to Lehto's Law. Here's Steve Lehto.
A couple days ago, I mentioned that with people driving less, some car insurance companies have offered to just give some money back to their insureds. And I said that was kind of strange, very counterintuitive. You don't hear about insurance companies just giving money away. And it seems strange to me, but then I pointed out that there's actually good reasoning behind it. So what they announced was some of them are going to say just give you back 15% of your premiums because you're driving less. And it makes sense that you should pay less money for your car insurance if you are in fact driving less, because that lowers the risk of you being in an accident and so on. And so that's one of the things they ask you about when you buy car insurance is how far do you drive and et cetera, et cetera. So I had said after reading one of the stories during a video that not only are these car insurance companies going to do this, and more will jump in, and several more did, by the way, including Geico. And Geico, I've mentioned before, is actually the company I'm with. I'm not endorsing them or anything. I'm simply pointing this out. They sent me a thing that said, hey, Steve, congratulations. We're going to give everyone a 15% discount. And it will reflect in your next bill premium payment cycle or something like that. And so I had a bill due. So I watched the bill for a couple of days to see if the bill would change, and it didn't. And so then I paid the bill, and nothing changed. So I don't know if they're going to take it out of the next cycle or if they're going to refund it out of this one somewhere down the road, but they haven't done it yet. So I'm just telling you my own personal experience. Your experience may vary. Your mileage may vary. But one of the things I said is that if the car insurance companies, there are quite a few of them, if they don't all give refunds, I suspect that the insurance commissioners in the other states out there are going to step in and force them to, because they ought to. And you can imagine how bad you look if all the other people in your industry are giving money back to consumers for a good reason and you don't. So I said, watch, what's going to happen is the insurance commissioners are going to step in and make this happen. And I predicted that a couple weeks ago. Well, guess what? This just came down, I believe, yesterday from the Associated Press and a couple other news organizations have reported this. California insurance commissioner orders premium refunds. So the commissioner is basically saying, we don't care if you've done it voluntarily or not. The fact is you should all be doing this. Insurance companies will need to return premiums to customers and businesses affected by the recent events in the news by order of California Insurance Commissioner Ricardo Lara. His office announced early Monday. Consumers and businesses affected by this are at lower risk, he says, and therefore they should get some money back. Now, notice this is not just customers. This is also businesses. So it's covering more than just car insurance. The commissioner's office said the shelter-in-place order across the state has reduced the overall risk of loss with respect to just general insurance claims. With Californians driving fewer miles and many businesses closed, consumers need relief from premiums that no longer reflect their present-day risk of accident or loss. Lara said in a statement, today's mandatory action will put money back in people's pockets when they need it most. And, I can tell you that this whole thing went down, in essence, on March 13th. That's when we got our first order in Michigan to sit it out. And so that means that we've been doing this now for a month. And in that month, I bought gasoline twice. I have two vehicles. One's for one vehicle, one's for the other vehicle. They're both in my garage right now with full tanks. So this does make sense. Per the commissioner's decree, the premiums covered are for the months of March, April, and May if the shelter-in-place order continues through May. The 6 categories of premiums covered by the order are private passenger automobile, commercial automobile, and by the way, the sovereign citizens will do a knee-jerk on that one, because if all automobiles are in commerce, then what are the private passenger vehicles? Workers' compensation, commercial multi-peril, which sounds dirty but isn't, commercial liability, medical malpractice, and any other insurance line where the risk of loss has fallen substantially as a result. Now, here's the thing. People are going to catch on this immediately and say, Steve, what is any other insurance line where the risk of loss has fallen? Who's that up to? Well, the insurance commissioner, I'm assuming, as part of his job, will issue a list of what those are. This is simply a press release. Insurance companies have until August to comply with the order, whether through premium credits, reductions, return of premiums, or other appropriate premium adjustments. So at least in California, they have until August to work this out or to give you back your money. The commissioner's office said that Lara had previously requested a 60-day grace period for policyholders to avoid cancellation of non-payment due to the crisis. Some companies, including State Farm and AAA, along with Geico, American Family, and a couple others, had already announced premium refunds or discounts. So that's between you and your insurer. Go check it out. Many insurance companies are on the internet these days, and you can look up their website and see what's on their website and figure this stuff out. It's not that difficult. So, like I said, I have not gotten any indication of when I would get my 15% back or whatever it is. But again, the national insurers, many of them have already voluntarily done this. California appears to have mandated it. And I suspect that you're going to see now a rollout across the country as other insurance commissioners step in and go, I don't understand why Geico and State Farm and AAA can do it, but these others can't. And they're not doing it. Why not? So the logic obviously appears to be sound. So again, I suspect that you're going to see this rollout across the country. And it's a rare bright spot amongst what's been going on lately. People are trying to figure out how they're going to pay their bills and so on, and unemployment numbers are through the roof. So to get a discount or a refund on this obviously would be, a good thing these days. So there have been some other stories in the news, and I probably will do videos on them as well, including the one that's been all over the place about the guy who appeared to have coverage that covered something like this. And they're saying, well, no, it doesn't cover this. It just covers... And, famously, and I'm not going to get too heavily into this, but there was an earthquake that hit San Francisco at the beginning of the 20th century. And Lloyd's of London had been involved in quite a few policies that had been written in San Francisco for the earthquake-type insurance. And the destruction was massive, just massive. And when word got back to Lloyd's that, there's going to be a ton of claims coming in from this earthquake. And the earthquake did cause some buildings just to fall down on their own. But the earthquake also caused some buildings to catch on fire. Then the fire spread. And if you want to get in and nitpick on how you determine what causes the damage after an earthquake, you can. The same way they were nitpicking how Katrina caused flooding. And so there were people down there who said, I've got hurricane insurance. And the insurance companies go, yeah, but you don't have flood insurance. And they were trying to actually split these hairs like that. And the insurance commissioners in Katrina stepped in and said, we know it was caused by a hurricane. You pay it. Well, the interesting thing is that in the San Francisco earthquake, it wasn't insurance commissioners who stepped in and made it happen. It was Lloyd's of London, which, by the way, is in London. And the idea, and Lloyd's, by the way, is not an insurance company in and of itself, but that's whole another story I'm not going to get into. But Lloyd's of London is involved in this. And the people at Lloyd's sent a telegram message to California and just said, pay all claims, because they understood that the public sentiment at that moment in time, if they had sat there and tried to nickel and dime people and say, okay, your building may have actually fallen over because of this, but your building may have caught on fire because of that. No, pay the claims. Just pay the claims. And Lloyd's of London is still here. That series of claims didn't put them under. So it's always an interesting thing. The history of insurance can actually be interesting. No, it doesn't sound like it could be, but it is. So, like I said, the insurance commissioner in California has ordered premium refunds, not just on car insurance, but several classes of insurance where the risks have been lessened by what's been going on lately. So there you go. Questions or comments, put them below. Otherwise, I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching Lehto's Law. Don't call an alligator a big mouth until you have crossed the river.